Joey, can we not? No? Shh. No one's here. Cool. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I actually had a different video planned for today, but I don't have all the ingredients on hand. So stay tuned because next week, if everything goes to plan, I should be making some awesome breakfast burritos for a whole week. So that should be a pretty fun recipe to share with you guys. Today, however, in light of not being able to do that, I decided to make a more lighthearted, fun video about some of the worst advice I've heard given to new vegans. Advice, is that the right word? Some of these are just like statements. We'll call it advice for the sake of the video. This is just my opinion that I received a fair amount of this advice when I went vegan a long time ago, and some of it I still hear today. So I thought we could talk about some of these. There's no shortage of bad advice on the internet in like any arena you can think of. Certainly there's bad advice out there. But because this is the community that I am most in, the vegan community and also the fitness community, which I could absolutely do a video about bad fitness advice. Holy Lord, that would be, I think, a much longer video than even this one. So the first piece of advice that I just don't agree with is that you don't have to worry about protein at all when you go vegan. Hey girl, what is up? The animal kingdom is going crazy here today. So maybe worry is a bit of a strong word. I don't think anybody needs to worry about protein intake when they go vegan, because as long as you're eating enough calories, you're not gonna die of a protein deficiency. You're not gonna have a protein deficiency. But if somebody was eating a certain amount of protein before they went vegan, especially if they had some kind of fitness goals, and then they go vegan and that protein is cut in half and it's lower than what they need for those specific goals, they're gonna have a harder time reaching those goals, and they might be scratching their head wondering why that's happening. So while I don't think we need to worry about our intake of protein, I do think that it can be really good to be mindful of that, where it's coming from, how much we're getting. Now I feel this way about nutrients just across the board, macronutrients, micronutrients. We should have a rough idea what we're taking in. Now, somebody could argue that a lot of people who are not vegan are taking in too much protein. Yes, those people do exist, but I have looked at thousands of food journals in my career from vegans and non-vegans alike, and I actually think that most people, especially ones that have specific goals, they aren't eating enough protein, even if they're not vegan. So if you're already not eating enough protein and then you go vegan, you might actually decrease the amount of protein you're taking in, and it might make certain goals harder. So you don't need to obsess about it. You don't need to eat a ton of protein, but you should inventory yourself once in a while, see where you're at, make sure it's enough. Along that same line, vitamin B12. This one is straight up dangerous. This piece of advice is straight up dangerous, and I can't believe it's 2021 and I still see it given out on the internet like candy, that you can get all of the vitamin B12 you need from plants, from the earth, from fortified nutritional yeast, or mushrooms, or I've heard of algae. No, please take a vitamin B12 supplement. Again, I feel that everybody, vegan or not, should be taking a vitamin B12 supplement, and the main way that people who are not vegan are getting their vitamin B12 is that the animals that they are consuming are injected with vitamin B12, or they're being fed vitamin B12. So you can take the supplement through the animal, or you can just take the supplement. Either way, if you're getting enough vitamin B12, you're getting it supplemented to you somehow. Now, the reason that I feel like so many vegans, especially newish vegans, can say, well, I don't take B12 and I just got my blood work done and it's totally fine, is because it can take years for a vitamin B12 deficiency to show up in your blood work. Years. Like, we can store vitamin B12 for 5 to 7 years, I believe. So you could theoretically not supplement with vitamin B12 and be okay for years. So when that B12 deficiency starts to creep in, you might not even know what's happening. And if that goes on for long enough, it can cause irreparable brain damage. Just take the supplement. It's super cheap. People are like, well, what if you take too much? It's a water-soluble vitamin, so you'll just pee it out. It's really not a big deal. Just take the supplement. Really? It's fun having 2 cats and being allergic to cats. Just kidding, I love them. So again, I would tell anybody that they should be taking vitamin B12, whether or not they're vegan. But to tell somebody who is vegan, don't worry about taking B12, that is just irresponsible, dangerous information. Let's move to some fun ones. Here's a really fun one that I see in memes and infographics all over the internet, is that beans have more protein than beef, or broccoli has more protein than chicken. Giacomo's home. This is like the most interrupted video that I've ever made.
Hey, so
while Giacomo was walking in the door, I decided I'd pull up the actual meme. I put an Instagram rant about this on my stories like 3 years ago. This was it. So they're showing you 100 grams of beans versus 100 grams of beef. The 100 grams of beans, that's for the dried amount. So that actually, when you cook it, could be like 300 grams of beans. It's just misleading. It's just misleading. And it makes the actual argument, the real argument that you can get all the protein you need without eating beef, it lessens that argument entirely to say something like beans have more protein than beef, when they clearly don't. The real argument is, I don't need to eat beef to get all the protein I need. But don't tell lies with your memes. Just saying. This next one I just think is funny. It's some of the vegan substitutes that are out there. Now, these are foods that I eat now, but like if you had tried to tell me when I was first vegan to have a carrot instead of a hot dog, why are we telling people to have a carrot instead of a hot dog? If people like hot dogs, do you think a carrot's gonna cut it? I don't think a carrot's gonna cut it. Ditto with a portobello burger. I love portobello mushrooms. They are delicious. Give me a portobello sandwich any day of the week. It's not a burger. And you're not gonna convince somebody who actually likes burgers that it's a burger. Don't even get me started on jackfruit anything. The first time I had jackfruit, pulled pork jackfruit, guys, you just like barbecue sauce. That's gotta be the answer. Barbecue sauce makes everything taste better. Just some substitutes, just don't do it. Just don't do it for brand new vegans. Just don't. You're not convincing anybody. Okay. Bad vegan advice, super common. You can eat as much as you want. You can eat as much vegan food as you want and you won't gain weight. You can eat as much vegan food as you want and you'll actually lose weight. Yes, these are real things that I have heard and still hear. As long as you're eating plants, you'll be just fine. Dude, almonds are a plant. I can eat a lot of almonds, like a lot of almonds. Like I could house 1,000 calories of almonds in probably under 20 minutes if I was just eating them. So no. Even if you're just eating whole food plants, you can still eat way in excess of your maintenance calories. Now you're less likely to if you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables because they're so watery and fibrous and bigger, it might be more challenging. But you can't just tell somebody that they can just transition to a vegan diet and eat whatever they want. This was super common back in the nightmare that was the 30 bananas a day era. So many people started eating 30 bananas a day because somebody told them that was a good idea. And then so many people started gaining a lot of weight and just mass exodus of the vegan movement when there was nothing wrong with being vegan or plant-based. At 30 bananas, that's about 3,000 calories. And that didn't even include the other things they were eating throughout the day. Yes, calories in versus calories out still applies, even if you're vegan. Another one I hear a lot is that being vegan is cheaper. This can be true, but it also cannot be true. So just like you can be an omnivore and spend a lot of money on your groceries, or you can be an omnivore and spend very little on your groceries, the same thing holds true for veganism. So yes, it's totally true. Rice, beans, oats, these are some of the cheapest foods on the planet. Rice, beans, oats, these are some of the cheapest foods on the planet. They're staples in places all over the world. And they're very, very cheap and affordable. And if you make those a cornerstone of your diet will be cheaper. It will just be cheaper. But if you're a new vegan, if you're transitioning into veganism, you might want to try some of the substitutes of the foods that you already love. If you love macaroni and cheese, you might want to try the Daiya macaroni and cheese, which is like significantly more expensive than the Kraft mac and cheese. This is very, very good also. If you like chicken tenders, you might want to try the Gardein chicken tenders. Those are expensive. So while I do think that being vegan can be cheaper, it's not necessarily going to be cheaper for everybody or for people in certain stages of their veganism, right? So Giacomo and I actually have a big grocery haul here on the channel. Maybe I'll put it here. I don't know if I know how to do that, but where we shopped for 2 weeks, and I can't remember what it cost us, but it was very affordable, and we eat a lot, and we eat high protein, and we're vegan, obviously. So you can check that out if you want to see how we keep our grocery bill down. Another, not really piece of advice, but piece of information or assumption is that being vegan means being healthy. This isn't true. Being vegan does not necessarily mean being healthy. For many people, going vegan will in turn make their diets healthier than what they were before, but just like the cheaper thing, it won't necessarily. So that's, being healthy is still something, if that's important to you, that you need to consider as you make your food choices, the same as you would any other way. I think maybe this was true 20, 30 plus years ago when the only vegan foods really were whole food plants, more or less. And now I can go to the store a mile away from my house in the middle of nowhere and buy a vegan cheesecake for $7. Like, it is not the same now. So being vegan does not necessarily mean being healthy, although it can if you plan it appropriately. Along the same lines is this assumption, generally from people who are not vegan, but a lot of people think that vegan means gluten-free, or vegan means soy-free or sugar-free or oil-free. I can't tell you the number of incredibly well-meaning family members who have offered me something and been like, it's gluten-free. And I'm like, that's cool, but it's not vegan. So, and they, confusion ensues. They're different things, and you don't have to be gluten-free, soy-free, sugar-free, salt-free, oil-free in order to be vegan. So if you're becoming vegan, don't feel like you need to do all of these things. You don't. You can take the little baby steps that you want to, and I would argue you don't ever have to do any of those other things. I am none of those things, personally. So, if you have an allergy, that's a different story, but you don't have to do any of those things, and they don't equal vegan. So the last one that I could think of today, this is probably the craziest one, and I've heard it like a few times over the years, and it literally just stuns me when I hear it. And it is the concept that if a female stops having her menstrual cycle, that it is because she is so free of toxins and so pure that her body no longer needs to shed its uterine lining. So, what do we do with this one here? Wow. Nope. If your body stops having its menstrual cycle, you should see a doctor. Something is wrong. Oftentimes, the places that I've heard this from are places where like fasting and juice fasting is a big thing, and that's toxins and the purity and all that. Could be an entire another video. But if you're fasting and you're not giving your food any nutrients for an extended period of time, your body realizes that it is not inhabitable for a fetus. You could not grow a baby in your womb, and therefore it does not prioritize having a menstrual cycle. You essentially are currently infertile. That is what that means. Your body has realized that you cannot house a child. All systems shut down. Like, shut her down. We just need to keep her alive. Let's not prioritize this reproductive cycle here. It's really, really bad. Certainly there are other reasons why somebody could not have a period as well, but I'm talking about from like a fasting standpoint. Regardless, if you are not having a period, see a doctor. It's not a good thing. You're not so pure that you don't have a menstrual cycle. So, that's a fun one to end it on. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a fun one to make. If you want to see one about fitness advice, I think that would be a fun one to make. I enjoy making these videos. They're fun. I get to feel more like you guys are here and I'm actually just chatting with you and not necessarily trying to like teach you something. It's just fun for me, so I hope that you guys enjoy it. I get to be a little bit more chill and myself. And if you like that style, this is also how I talk on the podcast generally. So if you've not checked out Muscles by Brussels Radio podcast, it's available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all the places. And we also upload the audio here on the YouTube channel as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tune in next week for some breakfast burritos, meal prepped for a week, maybe for 2 people. I don't know if I'm gonna make enough for Giacomo. We will see, but stay tuned. Let us know if you have any questions or comments or anything you wanna say down below. We will talk to you soon. Bye.